On today's episode, we're going to get a little bit more personal with the question. Instead of focusing on the business as a whole, I'm going to talk about my own weaknesses based on the question. Because here's the question. It says, what are your weaknesses and how do you turn them into strengths? Great question. This is a very popular interview question, and what a lot of people like to do is they go, well, you know, I'm kind of a perfectionist and just like to get everything right, so that's really a weakness for me. Don't ever say that, especially if you're interviewing with me. It's a horrible answer to the question. That's probably not actually your weakness. I have a lot of weaknesses. I interrupt people too much. Sometimes I speak too quickly and don't allow others to speak first. And as a leader, that's a major problem, because ultimately, if you're in a room of people and you are the owner of the business, or your title says CEO or president or something at that level, when you speak, it carries significant weight and it can prevent others from speaking. And so one of my biggest weaknesses is talking too fast, and I don't mean speed, although sometimes I talk too fast as well. I mean injecting my idea before I let everyone else have an opportunity to bring theirs to the surface. As a leader, I think it's really important to let other people speak first, especially if you're trying to gain knowledge from the entire room, because despite what you may think, you're not the smartest person in the room. It's the combination of all those people together in your team that creates great power. The second part of this question is interesting. It's how do you turn them into strengths? You know, my perspective on this is a little bit different. I don't think that my weakness is going to get turned into a strength. In fact, I think it's dangerous sometimes when people spend so much time focused on their weaknesses and trying to improve them, because here's what often happens. Let's say somebody is weak in a particular area and they're like a 2 out of 10 in something, and they work really hard on it and they get twice as good. They're still only a 4 out of 10, which is not very good. Where if you're a 7 out of 10 at something and you work really hard on that, now maybe you're going to be a 10 out of 10 after that. So I would rather focus on my strengths, but as it relates to my weaknesses, what I need to be doing is be aware of those things. Because there's a difference too between personal weaknesses, which is one that I kind of like mentioned, and like a skill set weakness. Like I might not be a very good photographer and I could work on that. Or I might not be a very good writer and I could work on that. That's a skill set weakness versus like a personal weakness, which is I inject my ideas too soon. I speak too fast. That's a personal weakness. And so I think as it relates to that, something like Emotional Intelligence 2.0, which I've mentioned on previous videos, that's a great book which can help with that, because it helps you learn self-awareness, which is like that's who and how I am. And there's a gift in the fact that I'm able to respond to things very quickly, but it can also be a weakness in the wrong environment. And so being aware of that and then understanding when and how to manage that in yourself is the biggest issue. It doesn't mean that I have to stifle my ideas. It just means that sometimes I need to take a deep breath and give somebody else the opportunity to speak first. I'd love to hear what your actual weaknesses are and how you have adjusted to those, become aware of them, and manage them in different relationships. Leave those ideas in the comments today. Love to hear them and love to hear about how this helps you grow your business.